Thank you, Ben. The Ghana Enterprises Agency is mandated to promote and develop micro, small, and medium enterprises. And the final outcome that we look out for is to create jobs and also create wealth. And basically, we have some, even though we are supposed to cater for, the full spectrum of micro, small, and medium enterprises, we have special focus areas that we actually work to ensure that, those areas are also enjoy some inclusivity, in terms of getting resources to be able to set up businesses and also manage them, nurture them for growth, to impact positively on the economy. So we have the youth as a special focus area that we work with. We have women, and we also have people living with disabilities. So in terms of working with the youth, we do a lot of things really to get them to even orient themselves towards entrepreneurship, really getting to understand what it takes to be able to take that decision to become an entrepreneur, and also what you need to do to be able to really set up a business on a firm foundation and really grow the business from micro to small to medium. Now, in terms of what we have done, in the cocoa industry, as I indicated early on, we have had a lot of collaboration with Mondelez Cocoa Life Ghana. And the whole idea for this collaboration was for us to get the people in cocoa growing communities to look at other opportunities apart from just, planting cocoa, harvesting, and, selling it on the market. Because, of course, there are peak seasons and there are also very low seasons. So even the farmers who are really working on the farm, it gets to a point where, they really don't have much to do, because then maybe they would have harvested the cocoa pods, got the beans and sold it, and they need to really wait for the next round of harvest. So what we did was to expose them to other opportunities, and the first thing we got them to look at was what they could do with the waste, emanating from their cocoa growing activities. Talk about the cocoa pod, talk about, even the environment within which they operate. What else can they do? So then we also had discussions with Craig, and they were really very helpful in getting us to expose these people to new opportunities. The doctor gave a whole wide range of things that they had researched into, which we also got them to, take those in the cocoa growing communities through. And I can say, as I sit here, that a lot of them have actually started businesses doing the things that they were introduced to, like, using the pots to make potash, as a raw material for alata soap, as we call it in the traditional parlance. I mean, they did other things apart from that. But more importantly, what we also got the youth in these areas to look at was for them also to provide services that really enhance the farming activities of the cocoa farmers. So we looked at, getting them together to form groups and getting them to sell, for instance, chemicals that farmers use on the farms, getting them to, go into weeding gangs so that they can go out there and weed the cocoa farms for a fee, getting them to support with the harvesting, the breaking of the pods, and also getting them to see what they can also use the beans for, in terms of adding value to the beans itself, to make things like, cocoa liquor, the cosmetics, and things like that.
Amazing.
So basically, this is what the work we have done when it comes to the cocoa industry.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I think she deserves a round of applause. Let me come to Dr. Opoku. We've had cocoa formally for 140 years. Every year we get about $2 billion. Cocoa gives us more hope than something like oil and gas, because the sheer number of people in cocoa are more than people in, say, oil and gas or mining. They are more enclaves. So cocoa has promise. So what I want you to do for me is to outline the top 2 or 3 opportunities in agribusiness. For job creation, that seems to be the preoccupation. You've been head of research. You've done extension services. You know everything about cocoa. So point us into some areas where you think there's potential for young people to start learning and thinking about. Not necessarily to start a business tomorrow morning, but to just prepare themselves so they can take advantage of those opportunities.
Thank you, Bernard. As if you were, I had this before coming here, but no. 2 things, 2 major things I have experienced or encountered that I believe open very good opportunity for the people of Ghana, especially those in the cocoa communities. The first one is when we introduced pollination from the seed garden to the farms. Many people thought it wasn't possible, because when I was a kid, I knew that if when you pass by the seed production farms, you see cocoa beautifully pollinated, and one cocoa tree could be carrying over 200 pods. And somehow we all thought that, well, that is where it should be. Until my boss took over. He called me one day and said, hey, we want to do pollination. I said, yes, we can do it on Farmers Farm. But you can't just get up and do it, because you needed many hands on deck. So, many hands on deck. So the first one, we decided to employ 10,000 youth.
10,000
youth.
Youth to do pollination.
To do pollination.
Wow.
Yes. And so that is why many people thought it wasn't possible, because they don't know anything about pollination. So how do you get them straight away onto the farms to pollinate? But I had an idea. I knew how we were going to do it. So I said, yes, it's possible. And I called one of my managers and said, hey, we have the cocoa map on our computer. He said, yes. I said, you know what? Go to your computer. Every 10-kilometer radius, place a dot. So he came back with about 2,000, a little over 2,000 dots. So I said, you know why I asked you to do this? We are going to open training centers at these locations so that nobody will travel. You just go to your community, get trained, and then you become a pollinator. You don't need any skill. The only skill you needed as very good sight, and that your hands will not be shaking.
So how do they do the pollination? Explain it to me. I
yeah.
want to know.
So I had about 150 or close to 400 extension officers. I sent them to Bunsu, and then got our pollinators in the cocoa station. We had just about under 100 to train them. And so they trained them, and then after that I deployed them to the 2,000 centers to go and train the boys. But this is how we did it. After the training, we used the farm as a training ground, and after about 30 days, I went there to see the work they had done. And I knew that we had gone to the next level. Wow. So I sent them to the 2,000 centers, including the trainers who trained them. And then we trained 10,000 people within a record time and deployed them to the fields to do pollination. It didn't end there. So after the first year, so when they started the work, I told them that, look, I needed 1,000 out of the 10,000 so that in future, when we multiply the numbers, we can set up more centers. So I wrote a letter to all my officers in the districts that observe them, the good ones. Let me know. Why? Because at the end of the period, I wanted to send them to Bunsu to train them in entrepreneurial skills and leadership.
Okay.
So that's what I did. Sent 1,000 people of the pollinators. Some of them, in fact, they are all JSS, some of them SS, yes, but the age should be 18 and 25. That's what we did. And then we're able to multiply. So the challenge is, how could somebody imagine how you train 10,000 people to do an exercise you want to do within a period of 3 months? But that's the strategy.
Just hold on, I also understand something. So when you train a pollinator, it's not a job for life. It's a seasonal job, right? So when they finish the pollination, what do they do after that?
It can be a job for life. The reason I sent them to Bunsu, I selected 1,000 to Bunsu, was that they should be, because they live in the communities. Some of them are JSS graduates. They are not continuing again. You don't need any skill, like you have to be well educated to do that. All you needed is good sight.
Good eyesight.
Okay? And you can handle the forceps, and then pollinate. So the whole idea was that when you have leadership skills and again the entrepreneurship thinking, you can organize the guys in your community, people who don't have any jobs to do, and offer the service, the rural service, to the farmers who you live with and get paid. But you see, and the reason you can, I know it's economical, is that before pollination, farmers were doing about 450, let's say 4 or 5 bags per acre. After pollination, after the first exercise, we had farmers doing 36 bags,
all right,
20 bags, and it was about 5 times what they were doing before. So which serious farmer would not want to get these people to work for them and pay? And it's an area that is so green that if we want to, get people to work in this industry, is one area that is highly untapped. Because cocoa is the only product or agricultural produce that no matter the volume we produce, you have a ready market for it. You don't have that in maize. You don't have that in cassava and yam and all that. But cocoa, any volumes that you produce, he will chase after you to buy them. So why are we not, using this as an opportunity and then spreading all over the country and get the people to work?
So the pollination is one idea.
Yes.
Yeah, but looking at the length of time you used to explain it, I can't let you do the second one, so just hold on. Okay. I need to make a couple of announcements. So it's time to take your questions. I had wanted to go around the panel a bit more, but I know you have questions. Can I just see quickly who wants to? You have people you employ who are a lot and stuff. Just walk me a bit through the strategy you use to make Niche one of the exciting cocoa brands in 2 minutes.
Normally they say cocoa consumption has got a strong correlation with GDP of a country. So you see that the developed country consuming more cocoa. But who doesn't like sweet? So it's not just a matter of your pockets, but if you have the opportunity to have chocolate to eat, you will eat it. Our goal is to be able to increase the cocoa consumption in the country. And it has to start from when the person is a kid. And they get the taste bite whilst they are young. So we are introducing a chocolate drink whereby we will start with a school feeding program.
Nice.
Whereby we feed the children with chocolate drinks. If they're able to acquire the taste of cocoa, they will grow with it. And that will increase the cocoa consumption in the country. And we believe that producing chocolate should be at the international standard, whereby we can also export to the international market, not just any chocolate for the country.
Have you started exporting?
So yes, we are.
Which countries are you exporting to?
To pretty much Germany, Japan, US.
And how is your product doing compared to the Cadbury's and these Swiss guys?
Okay, so for now, we are trying to build the Ghana market first before we start doing the international market.
International market.
We are actually putting a factory in the US whereby we are actually going to produce chocolates.
Wow.
Using 100% Ghana cocoa there.
You should invite your professor to come and cut the sword. The professor, put your hands together for Edmond. Amazing stuff. All right, let's take some questions. Yes, I see Ziad from the Borderless Alliance. There's a gentleman. Please, I need a mic. My co-MC, your work is not over. Please help me. I will need you to help me with the Q&A session, please. Thank you very much. Please hand him a mic, and then he will take the question. So I have Ziad as well. You need to come and collect this one from them. Yeah. So we'll take 3 questions, and then we'll come back to the... Just mention your name, and then you direct your question. But I'll come back for your second strategy. I'll let you end with that. The way you are so passionate about this pollination thing, you were literally shaking. I know.
Yeah, my name is Isaac Osei. I operate an agricultural technology company. My question is, how is your board facilitating young startups like ourselves to be able to integrate technology in the agricultural value chain? Because from my own personal experience, it's so hard to get involved, and we all know the benefits. Like even the pollination that you're talking about, drones are proving to considerably increase it. When it comes to disease surveillance, soil sampling, all these technologies that efficiently boost agriculture. But then when you try to get involved, it's so hard. It becomes like knowing somebody to take you somewhere. So as a board, how are you guys facilitating and making it easier for young people to get involved and be part of the value chain, specifically in the technology
So is this
sector?
to Dr. Opoku or Muhammadu?
Dr. Opoku.
Doctor.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Muhammadu can also say something. Thank you. So, Doc, that's your question. We'll take the next question. Ziad from Borderless Alliance.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Today I'm here in my capacity as a Tarzan enterprise executive, but it's sometimes tricky to put the line up because they both feed into each other.
All right.
And so my question is actually based on, you've started the question actually with regard to increasing the patronage of chocolate. And I was very happy when Dr. Opoku mentioned the fact that there is a market for chocolate, for cocoa products, cocoa, whatever the output is, the market can handle both the international and the local one. So I believe the real secret in making sure that we enhance the competitiveness of our product is by patroning locally. And that will also feed into boosting intra-African trade. But my question is that how much collaboration is there between the representatives of the private sector like Mr. Poku and then Mr. Opoku when it has to do with exporting towards African markets? Because that is where we have the weakness. And Cocoa Board has the ability, the muscle actually, to negotiate preferential rates for the export of cocoa products across Africa. We know that there are volume issues and challenges when it has to do with African so how can we combine the expertise of the chocolate producers with the leverage of the cocoa patrons of the country in order to make sure that our country becomes more competitive on the African level? That's my question. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. I believe the answer, you know who's answering, so just allocate. Bloomberg.
Thank you. My name is Akko. I'm a media person. Mr. Poku, is there scope to liaise with the likes of Cocoa Research in the spirit of developing the value chain to discover the low-hanging fruits? And in my mind's eye, I see where you could put together an application for people to bring in maybe proposals. And then the ones that we find very feasible, we scale it up. And then because Cocoa Board borrows quite cheaply, even cheaper than the Republic actually, you could get cheap funds to help develop some of these things. Is there no scope for that? I heard Nish say that they are trying to build some cocoa for free, is it free SHS or something?
School feeding program.
Thank you very much, the school feeding. I thought Cocoa Board should rather be leading a charge like that or liaising with them? It looks like you want the value chain to develop, but it doesn't seem like you are willing to support the startups to really make it work. Given you have the muscle and you can borrow cheap, and even on lend to them at even fairly cheaper rates. That scope could be more practical. What do you think? Thank you.
Wow, this is threatening to become a press conference for Cocoa Board, which is really what I want to avoid. Honestly speaking, I don't even know why. Can you give them an interview after the show? Like, just talk to the journalist? Yes, because I think that what we're trying to do, and I'm not saying your question is irrelevant, but I know where this is going. We are not here to subject Cocoa Board to questions. We're basically exploring ideas about how to improve employment and stuff in the value chain. So this is not like a Q&A for Cocoa Board to answer all the questions. If Cocoa Board had all the answers, we wouldn't even be here. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a temptation for a lot of the media guys to be questioning Cocoa Board, and I really want to avoid that. I want us to, and the other thing is that you don't have to ask a question. You can have a contribution. So, for example, you work within the value chain. You have some insights to share. You have a correction to make. That's really what I want. I don't want you to kind of say, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you paid the cocoa farmers? No, I mean, we do that on radio every day. So, please, that's not what I want. So, I'm going to give you another chance to ask your questions. Not to overrule, but honestly, I don't like where this is going. So, I want ideas. I want contributions about the topic on hand. Your technology question is great. I'm not saying your question is bad. I just sense where this is going. So I'm just issuing that caveat. So let's take a few more comments. Then I'll come back and we'll allocate the questions. So we've written down your questions, but let's go for more. Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Madam, yes. Yes, madam.
Thank you very much. I have maybe a follow-up question that's related, but maybe worded in a different way. I'm Dr. Christy Leslie. I'm a researcher and writer on the cocoa and chocolate industries for the past 16 years and on the advisory board for the Ghana Cocoa Awards. So it's really a pleasure to be here and listening to all of you at the inaugural Ghana Cocoa Summit. My question is, as a researcher myself, I'm very interested to know, and this question is for any member of the panel, what do you see as the most pressing area of need for research in the cocoa industry? And it's a really wide open question. I'm interested to hear, where do you see the most pressing gap in, and as someone who works primarily with the cocoa farmers, I do research with the processors and the manufacturers as well, but primarily with the cocoa farmers, I'm interested to hear if you see any gaps in the kind of ground-up research that we all could benefit from as people who are interested in developing the value chain. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you for that question. We take one final one for this round. Yes. Gentleman at the back.
Okay, I'm Harrison Ajima. Beyond playing with the cocoa with Volta Winery, trying to make wines and other stuff from cocoa, I'm also in charge of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center for Ho Technical University. And we have been trying to support graduates to develop a number of products from the cocoa value chains as well. But the fact is that commercialization of that innovation is quite tough. The bare truth is, initially you will not get a steady cash flow. And these graduates, these youth often don't have other sorts of income. Therefore, we will probably need a better support system if we really want to achieve much result with that, maybe specifically with the Ghana Enterprise Agency. If we study the cocoa very well, I play with cocoa a lot, so the fruit has over 1,200 nutrients and chemicals. The bean itself just has about 300 of that. So it means that if we focus on the beans, we are focusing on to go into commercialization of these cocoa value chains and stuff from it.
Thank you. Can you bring the mic back? I was in Ho and I tried one of your products. I think it was wine made from chocolate or coffee or something. Are you the guy who did that? Yeah. It wasn't bad actually. It was really nice. I didn't get drunk. I drank only a little bit, so I'm not sure how strong it was. So what I'm going to do is to sort of allocate the questions. There was a question about areas of research. Anybody can pick that. This question is directly to you, GEA. The first question on technology is to you. Then the two questions are related, Ziad and Bloomberg. So anybody can pick. I think you can even address that as well. Anybody else? So let me start with GEA, since that's straight to you, before I come to Doc. So Anna.
So your question bordered on what system do we have in place for supporting, people who want to add value to cocoa-related, products. So basically what GEA does is to expose people to these opportunities. But once you expose them and they acquire the technical skills, the other part of it is to get them to really understand how to really operate the activity as a business. So we build their capacity in terms of getting them to understand how to start a business and how to manage it effectively. In terms of how to manage your working capital, how to even manage your human resource, how to really market the product effectively, how to cost and price your product effectively to ensure that you are making some good profit out of it, how to cut down on your cost, how to enhance the quality of the product, and also even how to enhance your productivity. So we have a number of interventions that we actually implement to ensure that this is achieved. We have a very important training module that we have adopted, which we think is making very good impact on businesses, and that's a Kaizen, making little improvements at very low cost on virtually a daily basis. And this one really gets them to enhance the quality of their products and also improve upon their productivity and ensure that the businesses really become competitive on the local front as well as on the international front. But we don't end there. What we also try to do is to facilitate access to funding. Internally we have some funding sources, out of which we give out soft loans, at very low interest rate to startups who want to really build a business. So those ones are there. We also have collaborations with a number of development partners who also sometimes make funds available for us to support people who have good business ideas and would want to really start and grow a business. Otherwise, we also ensure that people are able to access markets not just locally, but also beyond the borders of the country. And recently, we have actually designed a digitalization intervention that exposes people who are in business to, basic tools, basic apps that can really enhance the operations so that they become very competitive. So all these are, interventions that we provide for people who want to start business well and also grow these businesses, from one level to the other. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Doc, you have a couple of questions for your attention.
All right, so I'll try to address two of the questions. One on the technology, introduction of technology, the spraying, and then the research gap. So I am particularly happy and very excited to hear the use of drones to spray or to control pests. What we do currently or over time is that we engage over 50,000 people to spray cocoa farms every year. And if we have technology that can take a lot of these out of the hands of people, two things. We are more efficient, we reduce the health effect on the people who do the work. So, young man, I will encourage you, because we are in the age where we want to bring technology on board to be more efficient. Let's see, because I believe Craig Esther is here. Craig will be happy to, test, to use your technologies and see how efficient it will be to to spray and control pests on the farms. And for us, that is the best way to go. We will reduce costs and we will achieve more. So that's it. And then the other point is the research gap. Look, for me, two things. We are talking about low consumption cocoa in Ghana. Why? Use cocoa, everybody wants to eat chocolate. But it looks like the price of chocolate is out of reach of many people. Why have we not thought of, even if not chocolate, we know how today we have, a very small strip of coffee. You can just do it anywhere. We thinking of something like that for cocoa. We haven't yet. I saw this in Brazil so many years back, let's say about almost 10 years back. I attended a conference. Farmer I could see because the way he was dressed, he was a farmer. He was passing. He stopped by a kiosk by the roadside. He entered there, they speak Portuguese. But I saw the storekeeper. He just put water, passed on quick warm water, and then put in a small shot coffee. Put it. The guy just took it and he continued. He paid coins. But we haven't explored that here. All right, a few places you can see vendors vending out, cocoa drinks for. But I think there's more we can do there. But we need some kind of research there to see what quantity should we put in a sachet that can reach, or that can everyone, every consumer can afford, so that we can reduce the number of, or the amount of the big foods we eat in the mornings, and try to get there. And then the other thing too is that I think the area of technology adoption, farmers, we haven't done well yet. We have a lot of information for farmers, but it looks like they haven't really adopted that technology. What is the problem? Many of us don't know. So that is one area, I think, two areas that I think I can identify within the value chain.
Edmond Poku, any comments? Muhammadu, any comments? And Joe, any comments on any question? There was a question about why you have to go it alone, whether you and other exporters can come together and say, look, Cocoa Board, help us to get preferential treatment with our cocoa products when AFTA starts. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Okay, so for feeding program, for example, to be successful, we have to work in collaboration with Cocoa Board to be able to get the cocoa beans and process and produce the chocolate drinks at a reasonable price. And that is something that we are working closely to achieve. If you take chocolate drinks, most of the chocolate drinks that are in the country, for example, are coming all the way from Malaysia. Wow. Even across Africa. So the septic filling chocolate drink in the country. We are the first company to put a plant in Africa where we're going to produce a septic chocolate drink.
Wow.
What
will it be called? Can you tell us?
Well, I think they'll share some of the products here.
It will be nice to see. But Nish is doing a fantastic job. Joe, any thoughts? You've been quiet. You've been too quiet for my liking. I'm not happy.
Well, Bernard, I think the core discussion here is how to create value within the value chain. I think, I don't know whether we've done justice to it.
No.
So primarily I have some clear thoughts in my head. Maybe I need to articulate it now.
Yes,
there are some basic facts that we need to be very clear on. Cocoa Board has 412,000 hectares of land that are diseased, cocoa farms that are diseased, okay? Wow. That means all these farms are infected with swollen shoots, they need to be cut down. Cocoa Board has additional over 300,000 hectares of cocoa farms that are moribund. That means they're not yielding very well. That needs to be cut out as well. So you're talking about almost 700,000 hectares of cocoa land that needs to be taken down. Now, how do we bring the youth into the cocoa value chain? And I have a plan. Most of the farmers in this country are almost in their 70s. it's not sustainable for us to have any interventions from Cocoa Board with the basic dependency on aged farmers. So this is the thing. I think we should be able to incubate companies. It's not complicated, it's very simple. If, for instance, Cocoa Board will sit with the private sector, we can actually come out and say, you know what, we are going to take applications from 1,000 companies, groups. Cocoa Board can actually make sure that the loan syndication that they take from the international market, they allocate, let's say, $50 million. This $50 million will provide a seed fund for these 1,000 small companies, okay, to provide seed fund for them to manage 100 people as labor. In effect, these 100 laborers will be responsible for maintaining the funds. Now, if we don't somehow put in a policy like this, what's going to happen is we can do all the interventions we want. We can do the pollinations, fertilizer, whatever it is. The farmers are so old, they won't be able to execute on Cocoa Board's agenda. But if you're able to get young guys to set up companies with support from Cocoa Board, all right, that they should employ 100 people, manage them, and we're going to give them roughly, let's say, 100 acres each. They will be able to create almost 100,000 jobs in our communities. They themselves will be able to create entrepreneurial skills for themselves. And eventually, that's how I think as a country, we stop all this talking, all this bureaucracy, and incubate companies, young companies, and start them into the cocoa value chain. It's pretty simple.
Wow, it's a fantastic idea. Wow. So he just gave us 100,000, and you gave us 10,000. So we're 110,000, and you have 6,000. So 116,000 jobs. How many people do you employ?
600.
600. 116,600. I don't even employ 20. All right, so we'll take closing comments. Mohamedou, you haven't spoken for a while. What do you make of the discussion so far? And do you have anything else to say about how do we create more jobs within the value chain?
I think it's been a wonderful discussion. I think the core area for us to create jobs in the value chain is to create micro entrepreneurs across various societies who are willing to take up services that are being pioneered by Cocoa Board and the government of Ghana, where we are pushing into introduction of modern equipment, be it drones, as I said, or be it vehicles, be it pruning machinery, be it pollination. There seems to be a lot of opportunities that are waiting for entrepreneurs to take up these opportunities to do these services. So if the youth are able to grab onto these opportunities and create employment, become an entrepreneur, I would definitely see opportunities for wealth creation. Those are my closing remarks.
Brilliant. So I think the panel has done a great job. Put your hands together for them. I sense there was a lot more we could have done with the topic in terms of what else can we do. But I feel there's a lot of talking, and let's encourage those who are doing. So maybe my closing would be, how do we know what's going on in the sector? Is it the website? Is it Cocoa Board? There has to be some conversation around cocoa, which is together. So I don't know who's going to answer that for me. So he's doing his own bit, he's doing his bit, everybody's doing his bit. We're all doing different things. But I feel people have to know there has to be a place to go to see what's going on so people can plug in. I don't know whether it's Cocoa Board that's going to lead on that, whether it's the ministry of whatever, I don't know. I don't know who has the answer to that question. But for every industry to become the driving force, there has to be information, because there's a lot of what we economists call information asymmetry. People don't know what's going on. They go and start something that's already going on. So maybe that will be your closing thought. Any ideas on that before we go? Or maybe when the MC comes, he would. Yes, maybe Mr. Cote d'Ivoire. Can you give him the mic? I want him to say a few things about what he's heard. Any examples from Cote d'Ivoire? And how can we synergize so we can move quicker? Put your hands together for our guest speaker, Alex Asanvo.
Yes, thank you. It's funny, Mr. Cote d'Ivoire. No, I just want to add from your comment. I think.
What are you doing? He wants to sanitize his whole body. This my MC is wicked. Sorry about that, sir.
Yeah, so, well, no, I just want to add one comment, but in relation to what Joe and most of you said, but also you as a moderator. We have this Cocoa Summit, which is already a platform, because we tend to rely too much on the Cocoa Board. We need to be aware. Cocoa Board will create or start, but Cocoa Board will not continue. So we need to take ownership. We need to always think how the farmer takes ownership, how the businesses also take ownerships. But overall, we need to get one fact. The cocoa of today won't be the same cocoa we will see tomorrow. Because, and I said earlier, the consumer, the people with eat chocolate are driving the trends. So we are trying to catch up, getting more consumptions in our country. But let's take Switzerland, number one consumer. One individual globally in the year consume 11 to 12 kilo of chocolate. So we can try to promote ourselves here. But myself, consider as a middle class, or a bit more, I don't think I eat even 1 kilo a year, right? So that means that the entrepreneurship thinking we are talking about has to come from creating value from the sector. That sector needs to be rewarded. And the trends today, very simply, is sustainability. So sustainability not because the Western wants it, but because this is important for us. So we said earlier, aging farmer. This is not sustainable. But also young people coming in need to feel the value out of cocoa. So the summit is a platform. It's a very good platform. And I think in the next event or next future, we need to start looking really concrete areas where we will deep dive. We bring certain learnings with example, pictures, so people see. Because by seeing, we have very good inspiration here on the panel, but also shows that we need to go further because people need to see concrete example from niche. Okay, how niche is going to set up new products here that people will eat, will use, etc. So from AMP, so Joe Farson today mentioned something, and I was surprised there were no questions. He's in the sector that is almost virgin. There is no one else I know here in Ghana. Even worse, in Cote d'Ivoire, there's no one that's doing this. Logistic, these services. And this is creating massive jobs. And we are oversighting it. So we have been talking, and I was a bit surprised. I said, wow. But no one has asked Joe to go deep into this. I visited his place. That's why I know what the opportunity. And I'm a bit surprised. And I think, again, that's normal because we are trying to get to the next level. But we are also facing the poverty that is dragging us always back. So we'll get there. But I think let's get ourselves a little bit beyond where we are today. So I wanted to give that perspective as well.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Thank you very much. Put your hands together for Alex Arnaud Asamvo. That's a beautiful wrap-up for us. So the Cocoa Initiative, the Cocoa Post, the Cocoa Summit is a great platform. We don't need to wait for Cocoa Board. And I really want us to put our hands together for the organizers of this event. Kojo and his team, I know there will be that, but to manage to bring all of us together with very little resources to have such a rich conversation. So go onto the website. There's a lot of information there. There's a lot of very good insight and stuff they do on cocoa. So, Kojo, thank you very much. Just to say thank you to my panel, Joe Forsen, Edmond Poku, Dr. Emmanuel Poku. I'll call you Anna from GEA, and Mohamedou. It sounds like Mohamed Salah, my favorite footballer. Mohamedou Muzamil. Put your hands together for the panel one more time. This is the niche chocolate drink. And is this what you were referring to for the school feeding? Wow. So one child, one this per day from nursery 1 to JSS 3. Amazing stuff. Is this already on sale in the market? Your commission is in the next month. No, guys, I want to hear from. This is really good. Can I taste it? Is it? Okay. Is it good for people who are lactose intolerant? How much milk do you have in it? If something happens to me tomorrow morning, you know who you are blaming. So give him a mic. I want him to talk me through this. Wow. This is good. What's it made from? Oh, give him the mic. We want to interview him on this. Boisson au chocolat.
Very well.
Chocolate drink in French.
Chocolate drink. Like I said, most chocolate drinks are being imported into the country across Africa. We want to be able to produce a chocolate drink for our people. And not just Ghana. If this one is successful, we can replicate this chocolate factory or the chocolate drink factory across Africa. And what is in it is pretty much our own cocoa, which we process. We add sugar and milk and water for the processing.
Really
it's
good.
aseptic filling.
It's really good.
You're enjoying it. Thank you.
It's really good. How much can I buy this for in the shop?
It's 2 cedis. 50.
2 cedis for one.
50%.
Amazing.
50%.
Does it go with bread or buffalo or just?
With buffalo, yes.
Boisson au chocolat. Put your hands together for Niche Cocoa. As the panelists take their seat, welcome the MC back.
Okay. Thank you, Bernard. Well coordinated, well moderated. I think they will stand up for a photo. Thank you. And I have the honor to ask you to join them, please, because you moderated whatever they said. Yes, go with it. At least you can even propose a toast. Yep. Okay, so first they will put on that thing, which has been disturbing us for the past 2 years. And then when they are done, they can take it off, so we can. When we are done with that, I think this program is proudly sponsored by some companies, and their reps are here. So they also join them so we can take photograph. After that, other dignitaries will follow suit. Photography. Are we done? Good. Yep. Thank you. Reps from Agric Bank, ACOM, Tazan Enterprise. Miss Anand, please join. Thank you. Oh, Boche, please join them. Thank you very much. Dr. Betty, please. Mr. Chris Vincent, do that for us. Of course, Mr. Noah Menya. Thank you. Good. Oh, please, Alex Asamvo. What are you waiting for? Please come. Thank you. Thank you. And what of the 2 young farmers who graced the occasion with fabulous testimonies? Toby and Co., please march forward. Thank you. Toby and Mr. Champon, please come forward and join the team. Join them quickly. Are we done? So by the count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, because they are overpopulated. Thank you. So let's do that. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have the next program, which is 6:30, and I think those who have the invitation cards will be expecting you. And that is going to be the awards night. Honorable Frema Opare will be gracing the occasion. Honorable Joseph Boahen Edu will be delivering the keynote address. Thank you all for coming, and see you if you've been invited for the next program at 6:30. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB. We are proud to be an indigenous Ghanaian universal bank with special focus in agribusiness and more. Our vision is to be the people's bank, harnessing the transformational power of agribusiness for wealth creation. To achieve this, we have identified the purpose of providing profitable and diversified financial services for a sustained contribution to agricultural development and job creation. The bank for the past 4 years has seen a positive growth trajectory, making it a strong industry player. With 85 network locations nationwide and a range of services in agribusiness, consumer, trade, SME, e-business and more, ADB has served the Ghanaian public well. ADB has been a major partner to government projects and also private sector investment projects. More than 20 industries under the One District, One Factory initiative by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo have also received huge financial support from ADB to cushion the constant supply of raw materials to keep them in business. Initiatives like the Planting for Food and Jobs, Rearing for Food and Jobs, Planting for Export and Rural Development, and also the 500 million investment for the next 5 years in the poultry sector, as well as others. Having won the Ghana Banking Awards, Most Socially Responsible Bank twice in a row, shows our interest and commitment in supporting worthy causes.
It has come, as usual, a national event to present to the best farmer of 2020 the ADB Award.
ADB has been a lead banking sponsor for the National Best Farmer for the last 15 years with a sponsorship package of the cedi equivalent of 100,000 United States dollars. In the peak of the fight against COVID-19, the bank has also donated 1 million Ghana cedis to the COVID-19 fund.
To the Honorable Minister, we are allocating the 800,000 Ghana cedis for purchase of PPE.
In addition, we have supported many individuals in the areas of education, health, agribusiness, and culture. Other initiatives include a $13 million capital injection loan facility into the Intercity State Transport Corporation to purchase 100 new coaches to expand its operations.
I'm grateful to the Agricultural Development Bank and its leadership for finding it possible to support the revival of STC. I know the main focus of ADB is on agricultural development, but nevertheless, because of the importance of transport in the value chain of agricultural enterprises, he has been able to find this additional support, and we want to thank you very much.
It is of our view at ADB that our continuous support to such projects goes a long way to build customer loyalty and satisfaction. Trust, Innovation and proactiveness are values at the heart of every staff of ADB, driving us to achieving greater milestones.